There is one common worry that comes with turning 60. Our memory is not what it used to be. We start forgetting the name of an old friend. We can't recall where we put the keys. Or sometimes we stop mid-sentence because the word we were about to say slips away. These moments can leave many people fearful of a disease called Alzheimer's, an illness that can steal memories and the independence we value in daily life. But today, there is a scientific discovery that deserves our full attention. A large-scale study in the United States has shown that by simply changing the way we eat, the risk of developing Alzheimer's can be reduced by as much as 31%. This is not a new drug and not an expensive therapy. It is simply a way of eating that many experts have mentioned before, but never with evidence this strong. The number 31% may sound modest, but think about the millions of people now entering their 60s and beyond. If all of them followed this eating pattern, hundreds of thousands could avoid the heavy burden of memory loss. Even more encouraging is that the changes required are completely within our reach, starting in our own kitchen every single day. In this video, we will explore what this special diet is, why it has such a powerful protective effect on the brain, and most importantly, how each of us can begin to apply it in simple and practical ways, starting today. Before we dive in, if you find this topic valuable, please make sure to like this video, share it with friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe so you can continue this journey with us into future health topics. And I would love to hear from you. Did you ever imagine that a change in diet could have such a strong impact on memory? Share your thoughts in the comments because your perspective might inspire many others. In medicine, a number like 31% is never considered small, especially when it relates to the risk of a disease such as Alzheimer's. This is one of the fastest progressing conditions, difficult to treat, and one that leaves a heavy burden on both families and society. That is why, when a group of researchers in the United States announced that simply changing the way we eat could reduce the risk of Alzheimer's by nearly 1/3, the scientific community took notice. The study followed tens of thousands of older adults, tracking their eating habits and brain health over many years. The results were striking. Those who followed a Mediterranean-style diet showed fewer signs of memory decline, preserved cognitive function more effectively, and most importantly, had a significantly lower risk of Alzheimer's compared with those who continued a typical Western diet. What makes this even more remarkable is that the effect appeared even without a complete lifestyle overhaul. Many participants still lived with conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or had a history of smoking. Yet, once they shifted toward the Mediterranean diet, their risk of dementia dropped noticeably. This points to the diet itself as a powerful factor, one that we can directly control. Unlike risk factors we cannot change, such as age or genetics, diet is firmly in our hands. If genes are the cards we are dealt, then diet is how we choose to play those cards. Even someone carrying a high-risk gene for Alzheimer's can still protect the brain through lifestyle and nutrition. And this study is one of the clearest proofs of that fact. Another important point the researchers emphasized was practicality. The Mediterranean diet is not harsh, not complicated, and not expensive. It does not require extreme restrictions or exotic foods. It simply encourages more vegetables, fruits, fish, nuts, and olive oil, while cutting back on red meat, butter, sweets, and heavily processed foods. These are small adjustments, but when repeated day after day, year after year, the protective effect on the brain becomes powerful. It is also telling that this study took place in the United States, a country where the typical diet is often heavy in red meat, fast food, and sugary treats. Yet even in that environment, when participants shifted to the Mediterranean pattern, the difference was dramatic. This shows that even if we are used to a less healthy diet, the benefits of switching are still clear and achievable. You can imagine Alzheimer's as a fire smoldering inside the brain, fueled by chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and poor circulation. The The Mediterranean diet works like gradually removing the fuel until the flames weaken and may even burn out. So what exactly makes up the Mediterranean diet? And why does it bring about such a powerful difference? That is what we will explore in the next section. When people hear the phrase Mediterranean diet, many imagine elaborate foreign dishes. But in reality, this eating pattern is simple, practical, and built on foods we can easily find in everyday life. At its core, the Mediterranean diet emphasizes vegetables, fresh fruits, fish, nuts, and extra virgin olive oil. It is not about extreme restrictions, but rather a gentle shift from foods high in saturated fats and refined sugar to foods rich in fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats. Vegetables and fruits, especially berries, deliver a wide range of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. These compounds help reduce inflammation and protect brain cells from oxidative stress, a major spark that drives Alzheimer's disease. The fiber in these foods also nourishes the gut microbiome, which indirectly supports brain function. Fish, particularly fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, supply omega-3 fatty acids. These nutrients are well known for protecting blood vessels and supporting the connections between brain cells. For older adults, omega-3s act like lubrication for the brain, allowing signals between neurons to travel more quickly and clearly. Nuts such as almonds, walnuts, and pistachios provide plant-based protein along with magnesium and polyphenols. Both nutrients are linked to reduced inflammation and healthier blood vessels. That is why something as small as a daily handful of nuts can become a powerful habit for memory support. Extra virgin olive oil is often called the soul of the Mediterranean diet. Unlike refined cooking oils, it is rich in monounsaturated fats, which lower harmful cholesterol, strengthen heart health, and most importantly, protect the brain's blood vessels. When those vessels remain healthy, the brain continues to receive steady nourishment, which helps preserve memory and cognition. On the other hand, the Mediterranean diet recommends limiting red meat, butter, sweets, and fast food. These foods are high in saturated fats and refined sugars, which promote inflammation, damage blood vessels, and raise the risk of memory decline. Limiting does not mean eliminating completely. It could be as simple as eating red meat once a week instead of daily, or swapping a sugary dessert for fresh fruit. One reason the Mediterranean diet is so appealing is its flexibility. It is not a rigid meal plan, but more of a lifestyle approach that adapts to personal taste and routine. Breakfast could be oatmeal with berries and walnuts. Lunch might be a salad with olive oil and grilled salmon. Dinner could feature steamed vegetables, roasted chicken, and a small serving of brown rice. All of these fit within the spirit of the Mediterranean diet. In fact, this way of eating is more than a diet. It is a lifestyle. It encourages enjoying natural foods, eating slowly, staying active with gentle movement like walking, and sharing meals with family and friends. That balance is what creates lasting benefits for both the body and the brain. But what exactly makes this diet such a powerful shield for the brain? The answer lies in its biological mechanisms reducing inflammation, lowering oxidative stress, improving blood vessel health, and nourishing brain cells. That is what we will explore in the next section. 3. When we hear that the Mediterranean diet can cut Alzheimer's risk by 31%, the natural question is, how can a simple change in eating habits have such a powerful effect? The answer lies in 3 main mechanisms: reducing inflammation, lowering oxidative stress, and protecting blood flow to the brain. All 3 directly shape how well our memory and clarity of thought are preserved. Let's start with chronic inflammation. As we age, the body is more likely to fall into a state of low-grade, long-lasting inflammation. It doesn't cause fever or obvious pain, but it slowly weakens nerve cells. Foods high in saturated fats, refined sugar, and processed meat often act like fuel for that fire. By contrast, the Mediterranean diet is rich in vegetables, berries, nuts, and olive oil foods loaded with natural anti-inflammatory compounds. When inflammation is kept under control, neurons are better protected, and memory has a chance to remain sharp. Next comes oxidative stress, a term that sounds technical, but really means an imbalance between free radicals and antioxidants. Free radicals are unstable molecules that can damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. In the brain, oxidative stress works like rust slowly eating away at nerve cells. The Mediterranean diet, with its abundance of vitamin C, vitamin E, polyphenols, and anthocyanins from fruits and vegetables, supplies a steady stream of antioxidants. These act like watchful guards, neutralizing free radicals before they can break down brain cells. A third key mechanism involves blood circulation to the brain. Although the brain makes up only about 2% of body weight, it uses around 20% of the body's oxygen and nutrients. When brain blood vessels stiffen or clog, that vital supply drops and neurons quickly deteriorate. The Mediterranean diet, with its focus on olive oil and omega-3 rich fish, helps lower harmful cholesterol, improve vessel flexibility, and reduce the buildup of arterial plaque. The result is stronger circulation, better oxygen delivery, and steady nourishment for the brain conditions that support long-term memory. Omega-3 fatty acids in salmon, sardines, and walnuts also play a direct role in building the membranes of brain cells. Think of these membranes as the protective outer layer that allows electrical signals to travel quickly and accurately. Without enough omega-3s, those signals slow down and memory weakens. With enough, the brain's wiring stays smooth, keeping thinking and recall stronger for longer. The Mediterranean diet also stabilizes daily rhythms. Meals filled with vegetables, fish, nuts, and fewer processed foods prevent sudden spikes and crashes in blood sugar. For the brain, stable blood sugar means steadier energy, less fatigue, and better concentration. Many older adults report noticing this benefit within just a few weeks of changing how they eat. In short, this diet works on the brain from several angles at once, calming inflammation, shielding cells from oxidative rust, keeping blood vessels open, and supplying the nutrients neurons need. Together, these changes create an ideal environment for memory and cognitive ability to hold steady, and in some cases, even improve. This is why researchers saw such striking results. By simply changing what goes on the plate, we can defend the brain against multiple threats of aging. And perhaps best of all, this approach does not demand harsh restrictions. It can start with familiar meals we already enjoy. Up next, we will turn to the most practical step of all: how to bring the Mediterranean diet into everyday life. Which meals can be both delicious and powerful in protecting memory after 60? That is what we will explore in the next section. Understanding the benefits of the Mediterranean diet is one thing, but turning that knowledge into daily habits is something else entirely. Many people assume this way of eating must be complicated, expensive, or hard to fit into a normal routine. The truth is just the opposite. With small, gradual steps, we can give both the brain and the body the full benefits of this approach. A simple principle is to increase the healthy foods while gradually reducing the less helpful ones. There's no need to overhaul your diet overnight. Just start by adding one Mediterranean choice to your daily meals. For example, instead of a pastry at breakfast, try a bowl of oatmeal made with low-fat milk, topped with blueberries or strawberries and a handful of walnuts. That single meal is tasty, filling, and packed with fiber, antioxidants, and plant-based omega-3s. At lunch, you might begin with a salad dressed in olive oil, filled with leafy greens, tomatoes, and cucumbers, and add chickpeas or lentils for plant protein. Pair it with grilled salmon or sardines, and you'll have a light but deeply nourishing meal for the brain. If fish isn't yet a regular part of your diet, roasted skinless chicken combined with extra virgin olive oil is a good step in the same direction. For dinner, steamed vegetables with a serving of chicken or fish alongside a small portion of brown rice or sweet potato, is ideal. The meal is satisfying without being heavy, giving your body the energy it needs to rest and repair overnight. The key is to limit red meat, butter, and processed foods items that often drive inflammation and harm memory. Snacks are another chance to bring the Mediterranean diet into daily life. Instead of cookies or salty chips, choose a handful of almonds, walnuts, or apple slices with nut butter. These options are simple, portable, and keep energy levels steady without the sugar spikes that lead to crashes. One of the most practical shifts is replacing refined cooking oils with extra virgin olive oil. It can be drizzled over salads, poured lightly on steamed vegetables, or brushed onto whole grain bread. Used consistently, olive oil supports heart health and strengthens brain blood vessels, both essential in lowering Alzheimer's risk. For those worried about cost, remember that Mediterranean eating doesn't rely only on seafood or pricey items. Lentils, chickpeas, seasonal vegetables, chia seeds, and flax seeds all fit the pattern, and they are widely available and affordable. The key is to swap in these wholesome foods for less healthy choices. Older adults managing conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease should take special care. The Mediterranean diet is generally safe and supportive for these groups, but portion sizes, especially whole grains and fats, should be adjusted under medical guidance. That way, the brain benefits are gained without compromising overall health. Cooking at home is one of the best ways to make this diet stick. Preparing meals yourself puts you in control of ingredients, keeps salt, sugar, and excess fat in check, and even turns cooking into a joyful, brain-stimulating activity. In fact, the act of cooking itself can keep the mind active and creative, another hidden benefit for memory. Ultimately, the Mediterranean diet is not a short-term plan, but a sustainable lifestyle. When small changes become second nature, adding olive oil, piling more vegetables on the plate, swapping sweets for fruit, choosing fish over red meat, the benefits accumulate. Over time, those choices become a strong shield against Alzheimer's disease. When we began today's conversation, we spoke about a familiar worry for those over 60 memory that no longer feels as sharp as before. Forgetting the name of an old friend, misplacing your keys, or pausing mid-sentence because the word just won't come. All of these moments cast a shadow we call Alzheimer's, the disease none of us want to face. But instead of focusing only on what's frightening, we explored a new and hopeful path, one that science has confirmed. A large study in the United States revealed that with simple dietary changes, the risk of Alzheimer's can drop by as much as 31%. That figure is not small. It represents millions of people who could hold on to their memory, clarity, and independence well into later life. We moved from research evidence to practical reality. First, we saw that the Mediterranean diet is not just a trend, but a lifestyle with solid science behind it. Older adults who follow it experience less memory decline, stronger cognitive function, and, most importantly, nearly 1/3 lower risk of Alzheimer's. This proves that our brain health is not ruled only by age or genetics. It can be shaped by the choices we make at the table. We then uncovered what makes this way of eating so special. It is not built on exotic or expensive foods, but on everyday staples, leafy greens, fresh fruits, especially berries, fish, nuts, and extra virgin olive oil. At the same time, it encourages us to cut back on red meat, butter, pastries, and processed foods. These gentle, realistic shifts are enough to create powerful protection for the brain. More importantly, we explored the science behind it. The Mediterranean diet calms chronic inflammation and the silent fire in the brain. It reduces oxidative stress, the rust that damages nerve cells, and it protects the brain's blood vessels, keeping oxygen and nutrients flowing where they are needed most. On top of that, omega-3 fats and antioxidants help maintain the integrity of nerve cell membranes. allowing memory signals to travel quickly and clearly. Finally, we discussed how to make it real in daily life. You don't need to change everything at once. A bowl of oatmeal with berries and walnuts for breakfast. A fresh green salad with olive oil and grilled salmon for lunch. Steamed vegetables with chicken and a little brown rice for dinner. And in between, snacks of almonds or an apple with nut butter. All of these are simple, affordable, and easy to turn into lasting habits. Looking back, the message is clear: the food we eat doesn't just fuel the body, it acts as natural medicine for the brain. The Mediterranean diet is a simple but powerful shield that protects memory, lowers the risk of Alzheimer's, and helps later life remain